Okay, here we are in the lab again, and this is the first episode of my Retro 1993 PC build series. So in this video series, we are going to build an old school 1993 386 computer, and we're going to go through it, and we're going to fire up the motherboard. We're going to get into the CMOS and set it up. We got to put a battery on it. We got to get the keyboard hooked up to it, and we got to get a hard drive running, and maybe even a floppy. We got to get Windows on it. And that's Windows 3.11. We'll probably do Windows 3.11 with work groups because I got a network card, and we're going to try to get some information into it a little bit easier through the network. We'll see how that works because it was like pre-network times. It was just starting to come out. That's why we have to use Windows for work groups, because the original Windows 3.11, when it came out, they had zero networking stuff. And you even, to use a modem to get online to call up a BBS, you had to have a third-party WinSock program to do the communication. So Windows for work groups, that's when they put some networking in. And you still have to have the WinSock and stuff, but we're going to get that rolling. And then once it's all up and running and everything's working good, then we're going to dive down into Windows internals and write some programs and study how Windows was written in the old days so that we can understand more about how things are now. And so it's going to be a full video series, and I'm excited about it because I'm excited about having a retro PC from 1993. This is way cool for me, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying making it. So let's dive right into it. Okay, so here we are, and what we're going to do is we're going to make sure this motherboard works. All right, so they have these two connectors right here. They come from the power supply. This is the power supply up here. I bought this brand new. You can still buy AT power supplies because the new connectors nowadays are not like this. And these ones, they go where the black wires together. All right. If you do it backwards, which it will let you plug it in backwards, it could fry the motherboard. It could be a very bad thing. All right. It seems like in the past I had done that before and it didn't hurt it, but I can't remember for sure. All right. So here's an ATX power supply, a fairly modern one. So this is the power connector. So you can see it's a completely different connector. And the power connector for the hard drives and stuff are completely different too. And you'll notice there's no CPU fan. This doesn't need a fan on the CPU. We didn't know about fans on the CPUs in the old days. I think maybe the 486 had them, maybe, but definitely the Pentium chip had them. But the old 386 didn't have one. All right, so it comes with standoffs right here, plastic standoffs. They push down in holes in the case, and so we're gonna have to take these out. So they're pretty easy. You just need something to squeeze them together. So you got to squeeze them together on the top side. See if I can show this to you. See, It doesn't want to focus. But so you can see how it's like a little arrow and with like a fish hook thing, you know, where it goes in, but it doesn't come out. So then you just squeeze these two things together right here and it pulls right out. Just like that. We'll save those. Those come in handy. I'm trying not to drop the motherboard too at the same time. There we go. All right. Now we got all the plastic standoffs off the board. And everything looks good. I don't see anything wrong with it. So we got to lay the case down. That means we got to move everything. Okay. Now let's see if we can get you over here so you can see. Okay, so I think that's kind of got you in there. This is looking down inside the case. There's our screws. So this is an ATX case. I couldn't find an AT case. I mean, everybody's recycling, so it's kind of hard to find stuff. I figured I'd go to the thrift store and find one, like 10 of them, but no, it didn't work that way, not anymore. So these are standoffs here, and there's different holes for different types of motherboards, all different form factors. All right, so this one, I had to drill and tap a hole in it, in the case, because they didn't have one for this old of a motherboard. All right, and then I had to do two. I think it might have been this one over here too. All right, this is the back right here, where the cards go up against the back right here. All right, so let's get the motherboard, and we'll set it down in there and see how it works. Just like that. So that's how it works. That's how the motherboard sits down in there. All right, now let's get some screws in it to stabilize it. And these ones are, let's see, should be this one. It should be these right here. Yeah. All right. Now, when you put the screws in, you don't want to tighten them down until you get them all in. Some of you probably know that. Some of you probably don't. Let's see. Not one there. Got one there. Oh, and at least they're not stainless and they're magnetic, so I can get on them. Let's move that cap. That cap's trying to get underneath the screw. Bend that guy up a little bit. When's the last time you've seen those kind of caps on the motherboard? I don't think there's a single surface mount resistor on this whole board. That's a trip. Okay. And one more over here. All right. Oops, not quite going in. There it goes. All right, so now it's about the best it's going to get. So we will tighten it down like that. And is there any other? None in the middle, huh? And you don't have to tighten them terribly tight, but they should be snug. You got to be careful though. When you hear any crunching, let off. Something ain't right if it starts making noise. All right, so we should be good. So there's one thing we can do is we can check it, make sure we didn't short out some power. So we'll put our meter here where you guys can see it. And we will just check from ground, like where a screw is, like that. And we will go across here. There shouldn't be any shorts until you get to the ground. And the grounds will be in the middle. So it looks really good. We didn't get anything shorted too much. So there's a ground. That should be a ground right there. All right. And that's also, you can tell how to put the connector on too. Find the grounds. But all you have to remember is on these old connectors, let's put that underneath. So on these old connectors, the ground, which is black, go together. All right. So it goes on the motherboard like this. Let's make sure it's not turned on. Oh yeah, it's not even plugged in. Good. All right, so they kind of go in these holes and then push down. Huh? All right, and you can't, it won't go on like this, but you can make this one go over here, and that's not good. I'm sure there's been some people crying over that one before, back in the day. All right, so that's our power, and that's the only thing this thing needs for power. All right, so now we want to get our cord plugged in here. All right, now these old ones, they have a regular power switch here. All right, so let's get these pushed over out of the way. So then, here goes, fellas. All right. I don't feel any heat. Seems good. So then we can take our heat gun here and we can check. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's not like going crazy. So we're good. So I'm going to turn it back off. Whoops. Trying to look for the switch in back like the new one. All right, so I'll take this, turn it off, and then we'll put in the SIM module and the video card. So we have a 30-pin SIM here, and I believe it goes like this. And it goes in like this. I can get it in there. No, maybe it don't. Maybe it does go this way. It does. Goes like that. You push it down and then bring it forward, just like that. All right, so that puppy is in there. All right, so that's our memory. Now let's get our video card in there so we can see if it's doing anything. So this is our video card, Cirrus Logic video card. Popular back in the day. Paradise VGA was good back in the day, popular. All right, so we're going to put it in the first slot. All right, it doesn't have to be in any particular slot, but we're going to put it in the first one and see if it will mate up good enough for us to work. So then you take these screws. This is like kind of a universal computer screw right here for the case and adding the cards in and stuff. So get my screwdriver, and then we just put that guy right in there like that. There we go. All right, so it's all ready to go. Now, we will take and find our VGA cable here. And it is way over here. I got tons of stuff over here. All right. So this is the VGA cable right here. All right, and it plugs in over here, outside on the video card on the outside here. So we'll plug that baby in right there, like that. Okay, now let's bring our camera back over here. There it is. So we got that. Okay. So now, let's see if we get any kind of boot up on this thing. Ready? Power on. So as you can see, nothing showed up on the screen. So that doesn't mean the motherboard is dead. It could mean a lot of things. I mean, there's since the board was they claimed the board was good, and they showed a picture of it booting up into CMOS. I tend to believe, it's probably true. It probably is a good board. So there's a few things we can do to figure out what's wrong with it. There's a thing called post codes. So when there's an error when it boots up, it throws post code. So it sends it out on the bus. So if you have a card, you can stick in there and it'll tell you what the code is. But there's a simpler way than that. And so these old computers always had speakers. And whenever there was an error, or even when it did post successfully, it beeped. So there's a series of beeps that mean certain things. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to plug in the speaker, and then we're going to hit the power and see if it beeps. If it doesn't beep at all, then the motherboard is probably dead like a rock. But if it beeps, it'll tell you the code. And then you look up the code and determine what the problem is. So let's go over there. I'll plug in the speaker and see what happens. Okay, so I got I got the case standing up in its natural position, and so that way you guys can see it a little easier. So if you look alongside this edge here, these headers are where you plug in wires that go to switches in the front of the box. So you have the reset switch. We have the power switch that we were looking at earlier. And then on this right here is the reset switch. We all know what the reset switch does. And then we have the speaker right here. That's where we're going to plug our speaker into. Then we have a turbo our turbo switch and a turbo LED. So the LED tells you when you're in turbo mode, it turns on, lights up. And the turbo switch was for the time delays and loops in games, because as the processor speed increased, a lot of the games were written for like 4 to 8 megahertz. So then as the CPU speeds increased, as the new models came out, it made the game delays shorter and shorter until it wouldn't work right, or it caused the game not to be the same. So sometimes you would have to turn the turbo off and run the CPU slower so that the games would work right. And that lasted till like the mid 90s, and then that particular issue went away. Let's plug in our speaker here into the speaker. Now, there's no real polarity on this. I mean, there kind of is, but there kind of isn't. Because for our purpose, there's no polarity. It doesn't matter. It's just a speaker. But if there's a plus and minus on the board, just put the red wire on the plus, just because. But it doesn't really matter in the end. So let's plug this guy in right here. We'll put this so the letters are on the outside. And we'll just stick that guy on there just like that. Okay, there we go. And the speaker is plugged in. And then we'll just kind of set that over here inside. Okay. And let's fire it up and see what happens. Power on. Can you hear that? That's 3 beeps. So that means the motherboard's probably alive and it doesn't like something. So let's grab the chart and look it up and see what the problem might be. So here's the chart, and if you go down to the third line, third box, you'll see 3 short. That means 3 short beeps, and that's what we have. And so it's a base 64K memory failure. And so it's a memory failure has occurred in the first 64K of RAM. The RAM IC is probably bad, it says, okay? I think I know why. Because in those days, the 30-pin SIM memory modules were only 8 bits. So the 32 or the 8386SX was a 16-bit microprocessor. So it needed 16 bits on the bus. So I didn't remember that you had to do it, but I looked, and you have to have 2 memory modules in there. So that makes sense. I mean, there's no memory module there, so it thinks there should be one, and it says it failed, which it's pretty much right. So that's a good way to troubleshoot. And so I ordered a set of SIMs, and I think they'll be here tomorrow. I don't know, but we'll see. And then we'll plug them in. We'll do this again and see what happens. Okay, so here we are. And for me, it's been a week. For you guys, it's been what, 30 seconds, a minute? But anyway, 30-pin SIMs, we got it. All right. So let's just jump over there, put them in, and I want to see this puppy boot up. I really do. It's been a long wait and a long journey getting all the parts together. It's kind of harder than you would think. So let's go over there and take a look. All right, so let's get this old sim out. Just got to push on the tabs and push it forward. That's a little difficult. All right, there's the old sim. Let's get those new sims. I believe these are 4 megabyte sims, or maybe both of them together are 4 megabytes. We'll see what it says when it boots up, because we know it's going to boot up, right? See if I can get that guy in there. Get my glasses. Alright, so we got to get this guy in the slot like that and push down. There it is. We got it. One more. Oops, let's get it in the right way. So it just slides in. Kind of lean back a little bit, push down till the bottom's out, and then just move it forward. Except this one ain't doing it. What's going on here? Oh, just couldn't push the little keepers. All right, there we go. So we're in there. All right. Power on, fellas. There it is. Did the memory test. Oh, yeah. I like it. I like it. All right, so we don't have a keyboard, so it's going to put up a fit on that. So I guess that's the next thing we got to do is get the keyboard going. CMOS mismatch, that means that the CMOS got erased because there's no battery. So we're going to have to put a battery on it too, so it'll remember our settings. And but this is a win. The motherboard works. Did the memory test. We got 8 megabytes. That's a +2. And yeah, we're rolling. Okay, so we have the motherboard booted up. It's running good. No problems yet. We still have a lot of work to do, but this will be the end of this episode. And the next episode, we'll put the keyboard in, maybe add the battery, and move into the CMOS and see what we can do. And so until then, I will see you in the next video.